Welcome in. This is the On the Mic podcast. I am Mike Pendleton, and I just told him as we were getting ready that I don't do this. I don't ask fighters to talk to me on fight week, but here he is. He is the one and only. He's taking on the Sugar Show, Sean O'Malley, and we're going to talk about his fight. We're going to talk about a whole lot. He's the one and only Eddie Wineland. Sir, mustache looks great. How are you?
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Moving from and from your time at HFC, I moved from the Chicagoland area, which is crazy, and we'll get into that. We'll jump right into that actually.
Right.
Now I'm right outside New York City, so it's like can't really catch a break.
Sure.
Where I'm at is safe, but knowing that it's 20 minutes one way, 20 minutes another way, it's kind of scary. You are a full-time firefighter.
Yep.
And there are fighters who don't get enough respect inside the cage. I think you're someone who doesn't get enough respect outside of the cage for what you do. I mean, Stipe Miocic gets credited for his work, but you are a full-time firefighter. What has this time been like for you?
It's the way we're running medical calls now with the whole COVID thing is basically we're kind of on standby unless it's a critical, if somebody's unconscious or they got a full arrest or any critical calls, we'll go in. But it's full PPE. We've got masks, we've got goggles, we've got a face shield, we've got a whole gown that we put on. So unless it's something critical, we just stage and wait for EMS. If they need us, then we come in.
Well, given the both situations that are happening, we have riots, looting, and then we have COVID-19. Which one, and I don't know, I'm not trying to prioritize, but from your line of work, which one kind of has you more cautious about what you're doing on a day-to-day basis?
Where I work, it's small town in Indiana, so there's not a whole lot of rioting going on. I mean, the majority of everything that I've seen in my area has been peaceful. Everything's been just everybody holding signs, kind of walking arm in arm down the street. I haven't really experienced what some guys in like Atlanta and Vegas and New York and Chicago, some of these bigger city departments are experiencing. I don't get it, man. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I mean, I understand that they're speaking out against police brutality and all this, but speaking and acting are two different things. I mean, you're harming and killing and destroying and all this property for something that, it's still yet to be determined. I mean, they're saying basically this guy's going to hang for his actions, and they're they're acting before any actions have been taken. So the peaceful protests I agree with. Throwing bricks and burning stuff down, I don't agree with that. I mean, I'll stand arm in arm with you on the peaceful protesting. I can get behind that. But one bad egg doesn't determine a dozen.
You're absolutely right. And that's actually where I want to follow up with that is that being a first responder, I find it, and this is not me saying it on any platform other than my personal podcast, so I feel I have the liberty to say this. It's crazy to me a month ago, the first respond police officers, fire department, EMTs, everyone was being celebrated.
Yeah.
And they were parking outside of hospitals, making a heart shape with their cars to thank, the frontline workers in the hospitals and their nurses and the doctors that were saving our loved ones all throughout the world. And now we're throwing bricks and we're lighting stuff on fire to throw a middle finger out, like you said, to kind of go after everyone when it's four, in this case, in Minneapolis. I do count the other three accountable. I do hold them accountable, I should say. So
Yes.
These four bad apples, it's not everyone in this world. It's not everyone in this country. It's not every firefighter. It's not every police officer. I just find it crazy how quickly times can change. I find it crazy how we went from COVID-19 to rioting and looting, and we're still doing it with masks on. So apparently people think they can be safe, but it's just it's wild to me. And I just wonder, when you see all this, are there any doubts for you over what you are doing as a full-time firefighter? Do you ever be like, maybe I just want to get out of it?
No, I mean, I don't do what I do for the thanks and for the praise. I do what I do because I enjoy helping people. I don't need to be called a hero. I don't enjoy being called a hero because I signed up to help people. That's what I want to do. That's what I enjoy doing. So to say that, no, I haven't thought about getting out or doing something different or any of the other garbage. But I mean, um, if people start shooting at you on a daily basis, then yeah, maybe I'll have to rethink that.
Absolutely, yeah, it makes total sense. And kind of last one on, well, I guess two more on this topic here is now in Vegas. What is that atmosphere like right now? Have you been out in the streets at all, or?
I took a short walk last night, just a couple miles. I mean, we're off the strip, so it's I was out while it was still daylight, so I don't know what happened at night. Um, I'm not sure what's going on here. I know we're pretty tied up at the hotel. They're telling me that after Friday weigh-ins, I'm not allowed to leave and all this other garbage. So they basically got us on lockdown. I mean, like I said, I'm allowed to leave now, but I'm a homebody and I don't venture out too much. So when I'm on the road, I'm here for business and um, I mind my own business wherever I'm at.
I love it. You really do, and you're one of the nicest people, one of my favorites to talk to, and we've only talked a couple of times. With that said, what is your, so we can move on and start looking at your fight. What is your message to everyone? Because you are on the front lines, because you do like helping people, because you did say you're down for peaceful protesting and you support that 100%. What is Eddie Wineland's message to how we can come together and stop the craziness?
It's the message is the divided we fall, united we stand. That's they want us to rely on them. They want us to rely on their giving us what we need. They don't want us to stand together. So I think if we all stand together and quit this stupid shit, I think we can get a lot bigger message across being together than being divided.
I want to give you credit because I think people in your line of work would not, give the criticism to those in Minneapolis and put them almost in their place. And like you said, it's not everyone, but some people in your work wouldn't.
Oh, I fully agree that there's some people out there that are police officers and that are people of public safety that should not be. I mean, they should not be in that line of work. I think there are some people who are I don't want to say bad intentions, but they're just not fit to be a police officer. So I and how you weed those out, I don't know. I mean, this dude had 16 charges against him, 3 of which only brought any kind of reprimandation. That dude shouldn't have been a cop.
Couldn't have said it better myself, but that's why I asked you to say it. So, being a full-time firefighter and kind of all of the things you broke down from the protocol of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, you're in Vegas now. You're preparing for a fight. How do you feel about the safety precautions that are in place with the UFC for COVID-19?
The COVID thing, it doesn't scare me. I think it's, dude, I don't know. I can't wrap my head around that one either. I have no idea what the hell's going on. I think it's all silly. It's all stupid. I understand they want to protect the elderly and stuff like that. That I agree with. But wearing a mask everywhere. I mean, shit. The other day I was leaving the gym. I saw a guy riding a motorcycle wearing a mask. Really? What good does that do you? I mean, that's silly. People driving in their car wearing a mask. So you were just out in the general public trying to not spread this. You're wearing a mask in the general public where it might be. You're touching your mask. You're touching your steering wheel. You've got gloves on that you haven't changed since you've touched everything else. So why not just use your hands and use hand sanitizer every time? This shit's weird, man. It's some wild stuff. I mean, it's crazy how quickly things can change and just, I don't want to call them scare tactics, but I swear I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's almost some media scare tactics of let's kind of a beta test of how can we scare the people? How easily can we scare the people?
Listen, it makes sense. And since this is my own platform again, I get to say this, like a guy who you know very well, and Joe Rogan was like talking about his time in Florida for UFC 249, and he was like talking about being at a restaurant and asking the server, like, do you really need the mask? Like, I can't even see, like, what's under there? Like, are you smiling? Are you sad? Like, And then
Right.
look, I'm the same way. Here in New Jersey, bars are opening up on June 15th. I don't want to go to a bar and not be able to see
Right.
who's serving me. Like,
It's weird. It's weird, man. You know, it's the way I see it is if you're scared, stay home. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Me personally, if I'm not forced to wear a mask, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not gonna do it. But unfortunately, where we're sitting here, if I go out in the general public in the hotel here, they're telling me I got to wear a mask, and they basically said the commission's looking for a reason to shut everything down. But they're supposed to be opening everything back up tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know if that'll change things. I don't know if that'll change the mask situation. I don't know. But what are you gonna do?
now you were scheduled to fight in March. Obviously, all this shut it down. What was the process like for you to get back? Were you just like, I'll take the first fight. I want to get back in there because you haven't fought since June of last year. What was that process like?
So when the fight got canceled, they basically just said stay ready. Uh, so which I mean that's kind of a statement. It's like stay ready for what? You know, stay ready for when, for how long, for who. How am I supposed to stay ready? The gyms are closed. Everything's closed. How am I going to stay ready? So, I mean, fortunately for me, I've got a small kind of down and dirty basement gym. Nothing but barbells, dumbbells, kettlebells, just your basics. So I started doing 5-round fitness thing. I don't know if you follow it or whatever. It's on my Instagram, but basically it's just kind of how I kept myself not fight ready, because anybody who says they're always in fight shape, they're full of shit. You can't live in that realm. I mean, you're talking about living in a world way up here that it's just not physically possible. So we kind of went into a holding pattern, and I went into that 5-round fitness. I mean, just as it sounds, it's 5-minute rounds with 1-minute breaks. You know, the first and the fifth rounds are a warm up and a cool down. The middle 3 rounds are the ass kickers, kind of to simulate and keep my body ready for 5-minute rounds, 1-minute breaks, stuff like that, until we could get back into the gym and start getting ready. So, like I said, we went into that holding pattern, and then luckily everything in Indiana kind of opened up a little quicker than everywhere else. And I won't say who, but we maybe backdoored a couple of workouts. So, you know, we did that getting ready, and I held myself, like I said, in that holding pattern to where we had a good 2.5 weeks of a good hard push and got us right back to where we needed to be.
I love it. Well, 5-round fitness sounds like, here's the thing. It's not that I ignore fitness programs.
Yeah.
By people that I respect like yourself, I ignore fitness programs.
Just in general, I understand.
Really quickly, I'll tell you, before we got this interview set, I was sitting on the porch, and my aunt, who I lived with, just ordered some alcohol to the house for delivery. And the woman goes, "Hi, I'm sorry. Can you get an adult? I can't leave this on the front steps with you." I'm like, I'm 28 years old. And she's like, "I didn't mean to offend you." I was like, "It's fine." So, like, sure. I have that, but I will say I like that. And I do like that there are fighters like yourself who are kind of putting that stuff out there, because people are losing their minds. They don't know how to stay in shape. And
sure.
For you, how much of the other stuff outside of training, fighting in an empty arena, you know, losing out possibly on live gates, a full media day, a full fight week that you're used to, how much did you give thoughts to all those other things before accepting this fight?
None. Didn't. I mean, it was. I've been training for 4 months for one fight. You know, so there was no thoughts given. It was hey, I've been staying ready. I've got vacation days set this day. If you can't give me this fight, I'll fight this day. Then I'm gonna stop doing what I'm doing and take a little bit of me time. You know, and that was the first name they came up with, was Sean O'Malley. So, you know what? If 4 months for one fight, whether it's just me and him there, whether it's, you know, if we're in the parking lot, I mean, as long as I get paid and I get to fight somebody, no thoughts given.
I feel like you just kind of answered the next one, but Sean O'Malley is a guy, undefeated, rising contender in the division, and a guy that a lot of people are getting behind. Just if you can kind of talk about your experience with going through some of these guys, these young names, these up-and-comers that people have a lot of hype and interest in, and then they have to fight you. What is that like to fight on a young rising name?
You know, so obviously I'm getting older in the sport. I'm 35, And I'm on the tail end of my career. I'll give him that. But I mean, at 35, I feel in better shape than I was at 25, just because of the way I train. So fighting a guy like O'Malley, that's kind of been what I wanted to do. I want to go out of the UFC fighting the young guns. I don't want to fight the 38-year-old veteran as my last fight. You know, it's I want to fight the younger guys because I want to test myself. I want to test myself. I want to test my cardio. Sean O'Malley, he poses a lot of problems. I mean, he's long, he's lanky, he's unorthodox, he's fast. His grappling game has improved immensely over the last few years. Just his overall MMA game. I mean, if you look at when he first was on the Contender Series versus his last fight, I mean, there's a big improvement there. So, unfortunately for him, I'm a guy who doesn't mind getting hit in the head, and I'll continue to come forward. So, I don't want to get hit, but yeah, I'm probably going to get hit. I'm probably going to get kicked. That's fine. But it's what's he going to do when he gets hit back? You know, we're going to try and take the Sugar Show and cancel it, replace it with Mustache Mania.
I love that. I love that. Now let's talk about like that card. There's a lot of fights in the division on that card, and I feel like, and this is me diving way too deep into it and looking too deep in my brain, but you've got some top bantamweight fights, and then also you guys. It feels like with an impressive victory one way or another, either from yourself or from Sean, either you can kind of throw a monkey wrench into things, or Sean can kind of maybe catapult in the bantamweight division. Has that occurred to you? Like, hey, if I do stop the Sugar Show and Mustache Mania comes to light, like I'm making a huge statement in a division that's wide open.
Sure, yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think it's a huge opportunity for both of us. You know, for me, it's almost I got nothing to lose. Like you said, I'm 35. I'm supposed to lose. I'm on the tail end of my career. He's the gatekeeper. You know, and on Sean's side, he's fighting a guy. Yeah, he's been there. He's done that. He's a gatekeeper. Get past this guy, and you're into the top 10, and you're moving your way up. So I think it's an opportunity for both of them. I'm just looking at it as I got nothing to lose, you know, because I'm expected to lose this fight. I think that the odds were he was a 450 favorite or something. It was something stupid. They obviously haven't seen my right hand.
If you do make that statement, what would you kind of give some thought into or reaction to your place in the division? Like, is that something that you are focused
on? My place, I mean, you know, I did that a while ago of calling everybody out, and I want to fight this guy, I want to fight that guy, I want to fight that guy. Like I said, dude, I'm on the tail end of my career. Who do you want me to fight? I'm done with the call outs. I'm done with the stuff. I've only fought once a year for the last how many years, not by choice, but I mean, life happens. I got a family, I got a career. I've got a house that I decided that's going to remodel. So, you know, just through silly things happening and small injuries, shit like that. I'd still like to fight 2 or 3 times this year. So whoever they tell me, really, I mean, just if you want to keep moving me up, keep moving me up. If I keep winning, I think they have no choice other than to move me up.
What do you make of the division? I mean, Henry Cejudo retired. Jose Aldo's coming down from featherweight. He's getting that, bantamweight title shot.
Sure.
Against Peter Yan. And then, like I said, Aljamain and Corey Sandhagen will take on each other on the same night as your fight. What do you make at the top of the division?
I think, honestly, I think the winner of Sandhagen and Sterling probably should be next in line for a shot. I think there's a lot of heavy hitters on the bantam. You got Garbrandt and Assunção. I mean, both of those guys, they could make an argument for a shot. You know, the Peter Yan and Aldo fight. I mean, that's an exciting fight. I think Peter Yan should have fought for the title a while ago. You know, after his last fight, I think he should have fought for the title. But I mean, there's the top 5, 6, even 10 are heavy and deep, and I think the bantamweight division could be very interesting.
I think you're absolutely right there. Now, you've mentioned it a few times, and you just said you'd like to fight 2 or 3 times, possibly this year, if everything came, according to plan. But I have to ask, since you've mentioned it, you said you're on the tail end of your career. What does that look like? Have you thought about it, like an exit strategy? Like, what do you when you say that?
Not really. See, I always said I wanted to be 35 and done. Well, I'm gonna be 36 in this month, so uh, um, I don't think I'm gonna be 35 and done, unfortunately. You know, because I also wanted to be done with no mortgage, so I haven't quite gotten there yet. Um, I don't really have an exit strategy. You know, as long as I feel good, every time I go into fight week, I always tell myself this is the last one. I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. Just because the weight cut sucks. You know, the weight cut's the hardest thing. I walk around 152 pounds, 153 pounds. I got to cut down to 136. I mean, even at 152, I'm 5 or 6% body fat. So I mean, it's a hard cut. I mean, it's not fun, and I get in the middle of my weight cut and just constantly hungry. So why am I doing this? I'm hungry, and I can't move up to 145 because if I move up to 145, those dudes are all 160, 165. So I'm still rowing the same boat. I got to put on some weight and still cut the weight, and you know, so it's just a vicious cycle. After I get done cutting weight, I'm back on board, and oh yeah, that wasn't so bad. You forget real quickly how bad it sucked, and then try to get right back in there for the next one.
Well, let's get rid of these mortgage payments for you.
That's what I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
So you also kind of have something in place. I don't know if it's something you want to pursue full time, but you do broadcast fights for HFC, and I'm just curious, where would you like to expand, or would you like to expand your broadcasting career?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I like to talk. So, sometimes I think I'm good at talking. Sometimes a brain fart, but you know, it is what it is. I wouldn't mind expanding, but I don't want to be on the road 35, 40 weeks out of the year. You know, like I said, I've got a family, I've got a career. Time with my wife and kids is more important to me than anything. So, I don't know how much I could expand while still getting to spend time with them. I would take opportunities if they presented themselves, and then just kind of have to tackle it as it came.
You can jump on this podcast whenever you want, and you can
there
do it
you
from
go.
home. There.
All right.
All right, I gotta ask. I went 23 minutes without asking. The mustache mania. Let everyone know, like, what
mustache. I say mustache mania. That's the show that's gonna overrun the sugar show, but it's mustache mafia. Yeah, I grew a mustache a long time ago. Shit, it's been probably 5 or 6 years. Just before our first son was born, Jack, and my wife hates it. Oh, she just hates it. Absolutely hates it. I'm constantly playing with it and got food in it, and because I'm one, if I'm gonna grow a mustache, I'm not trimming. I mean, my middle hairs are as long as my outer hairs. I won't trim it. If you're gonna do it, you might as well do it right. So, I applied for at first I had T-shirts made, and then I applied for a trademark, and we actually got the trademark for Mustache Mafia. So now I'm not stuck with it. She's stuck with it because I don't mind it. You know, I'm constantly eating it and constantly, but you know what? With a great mustache comes great responsibility. So just continue to take care of it, and it's just it's more about all things manly. You know, kind of with all the stupid shit going on in the world. You know, my wife hates it when I say this, but every time I like to use the analogy of you got boys in 1945 coming off of the duck boats getting shot dead, and now you got boys 18 years old now. They're looking for their eyeliner, mascara, and safe space with their sidewalk chalk. You know, that's not cool to me. I mean, you man up, do some man shit. I mean, just be a man, dude. It's all about man activities.
I wish I could be like, yeah, I'm with you, but I had like 3 White Claws yesterday, so I feel like
that's all right. Yeah, you'll be all right. We'll be all right.
And just a couple more here for you, and I really appreciate the time. What is it going to be like for you fighting in an empty arena? I know, to be honest and to be blunt, I know you don't give a shit, but you know that does say something. And you know, I just share a quote with you that Courtney Casey said to me. She said it feels like true martial arts. It feels true to the martial arts when you were a kid and you got dropped off at Taekwondo and your parents had to stay quiet. She also said, you know, it's an art that you wouldn't go to an art museum and hear people painting and or excuse me, screaming and booing and wooing at the paintings, you know, and I think she makes a great point.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect, honestly. I don't know what to think of it. I don't know what to expect. Every time I fight, honestly, I kind of black out. I don't really hear a whole lot of anything, honestly. So it's going to be an experience, to say the least. I mean, I'm happy that I get to experience this whole thing, but I'm not happy that I got to wear a mask through the whole thing. So it'll be watching it on TV. It's kind of cool, but at the same time it's kind of creepy because you hear the smack of every little hit. And I think from a fan's perspective, it's kind of cool that they get to hear that smack and that crack every single time, so they know it's almost like they're in there fighting without getting hit.
And we'll get this this podcast up ASAP. But with that being said, you're taking on a guy who has the look. He doesn't mind smoking joints with Snoop Dogg, and everyone's on him. But again, you're not someone, I feel like, you don't need to shit talk. You don't need to be hyped up for a fight. You just like to fight. I will never forget being in the building at UFC 238, your last fight, right down the street from your house.
Yeah.
It's right there, Indiana, Chicago, and feel the crowd's reaction and emotion to your win. We're going to be missing that, but you have an opportunity, like we've talked about, to put an end to the Sugar Show's undefeated run. What's your message to the fans?
I mean, somebody's got to beat him. I mean, yeah, the dude's good, but everybody's overlooking me. I mean, I've been reading a few comments. I don't dig too deep into it, but you get I guess they call them casuals, that they're just, who's this guy? I mean, shit, I've been fighting for longer than some of these guys been born. I mean, some of these guys I've been fighting since 2003, fresh out of high school, since before it was a cool thing to do. So, don't sleep on me. I mean, don't overlook me. I'm nobody's stepping stone, and yeah, he might beat me, but you know what? I've got equal opportunity here. So don't overlook me.
You just took my $65 for Saturday night. UFC 250 goes down this weekend. Eddie Wineland taking on Sean O'Malley. Are you selling those Mustache Mafia shirts?
Yeah, I've got them, and I've really been slacking on setting things up. A buddy of mine, he's actually got a website. I've got shelves full of them at home. I just haven't set up basically I've just been doing them through my PayPal. Hey, send me $31, I ship it out. It's I do them 31 shipped in the States, but I need a more formal of, hey, I can get on this website, click and buy. And that's actually, I talked to the guy who did the website. So I'm hoping here in the future we're going to get something up and going and get a little more serious with it. And again, can't fight forever, so if I can make a couple extra bucks selling t-shirts, coffee cups, I even got women's underpants, they say Mustache Rider on them. So
I love that. I love that. Now can people who can't grow mustaches buy?
Dude, it's not about the lip luggage. It's about the support. It's about supporting. Danielle Vale, she said it best: unapologetically masculine. Just being a man, dude. Like I said, you could be a woman. Women don't grow mustaches. I mean, some women grow mustaches, I guess, but just because you don't grow a mustache doesn't mean you can't. Again, with the women's underpants, you're a woman, you enjoy mustache rides, get on board.
I love it. I'm going to take that clip, and every time a girl that I'm trying to talk to goes, you don't look like a man because you can't grow a mustache, I'm like, I have a friend,
right?
And let him speak for me.
There you go.
Eddie Wineland, thank you so much. And I mean it, man. If you ever want to come on and just chop it up, talk fights, talk whatever, talk the world happening.
Absolutely.
Platforms here for you. I love talking to you, man. So
thanks, man.
Best of luck this weekend, and I'll make sure everyone's tuning in, mustache or not.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.